court ruling blocks the city of Seattle's efforts to create supervised heroin injection sites, because that's what we're doing in Seattle. We're going to read about that. KOMO News article. Homelessness, drug addiction, crime. Now we've got, wow, we need a supervised heroin injection site. I mean, we need lots of those apparently, right? And that's what we're trying to do here in Seattle. Nuts. Crazy. If you're new here, my name is Sean Reynolds. I own Summit Properties Northwest, Reynolds and Kline Appraisal, but I am more well-known on the interweb for reading the news. I'm the real estate guy that reads the news. Let's get into it. Seattle's efforts to create a supervised consumption site for heroin users to inject while being watched by a nurse received a setback on Tuesday. In a 2-1 vote, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals ruled a consumption site in Philadelphia could not open because it would violate federal drug laws. So if you're a state and you want to do something, that's fine, but you can't cross over into the federal realm because then you're going to lose your funding, and nobody needs that, especially in the era of Rona, when all budgets are upside down because businesses are shut down, don't have the revenue, and we don't really have the leadership to figure it out, so they're all going to ask for federal money. So you don't want to violate those federal drug laws. That's a no-go. That's a no-no. Supporters of opening a site in Seattle are hopeful a Biden administration with a democratically controlled Congress will make it easier to open one legally. Is that really what we need? Or do we need to work more on the addiction part? Do we need to enable these zombies running around, shooting themselves up, burning up their tents because they're lighting stuff up to get the heroin to a liquid form to shoot into whatever body part they see fit, and it's got a vein that can take it? Is that really what we need? Is a heroin injection site? Just give them some clean needles and it'll be done under the supervision of a nurse? Or do we really help these people out and work on their actual addiction? Enable or work on the addiction? Now in Seattle, we're enabling because we love our fellow human being. We are compassionate about our fellow human being, and we want them to be happy, which means if they're addicted to drugs, we want them to continue using drugs and do it in a safe manner. I don't think anybody wants anybody to continue using drugs, but it sure feels that's the direction we're going in when we're talking about a safe shoot-up site. I know we had that, or maybe it was a needle exchange in CHOP. I mean, you've got these areas where this stuff's going on, and hey, if you've got a kid that's on these kind of drugs, it is a brutal drill. You don't know if you're going to go in and, try and wake your kid up and he's going to be dead because so much of this stuff has the fake fentanyl in it, and your kid goes down and he is dead. So I don't know. Is there a good solution here? I think it's actually work on the addiction end of things, but nobody really wants to do that because it's hard. You get somebody addicted to an opioid, not a good thing to come off of. Very difficult. Not pretty. So we go the other end, which is give them a safe injection site, supervision of a nurse. If they OD on the spot, if they've got some bad stuff, take a bad hit, then we've got medical supervision right then and there. It seems to me like we're just enabling this stuff, right? I don't know. In its ruling, U.S. Circuit Judge Stephanos Bibas called the motives by Safehouse, the nonprofit hoping to open the site, admirable. But Congress has made it a crime to open a property to others to use drugs. So maybe we get that all switched out with Biden being in office. Maybe he will, have compassion for his fellow human being and let him start using drugs on a regular basis in a supervised manner, and we just go down that road. Kind of seems like that's something that's going to happen, right? And I am not entirely okay with that. It just wild. Seattle King County Public Health green-lighted supervised injection sites known as GELS, Community Health Engagement Locations, 3 years ago. But in an effort to find a fixed location like the ones in British Columbia, run by Insight, they failed. An effort to create mobile sites using an RV that can go where needed has also stalled. In November, the Seattle City Council approved more than $1.1 million to facilitate existing locations that provide services to drug users, like the Aurora Commons in North Seattle, with the staffing to be a consumption site. City has been waiting to see how the court would rule in the Philadelphia case before moving forward. So City of Seattle has basically already got these things going, but they're just not legal on a federal level, right? Kind of like just the whole marijuana in the states that it's legal is. It's legal on the state level, but it's not okay on the federal level. The feds can come in and shut you down any single time they want. They can make life miserable because, hey, federal level, that is still a class 1 drug classification. I can't remember what the actual name is for that, but it's marijuana on the federal level is still the same as heroin or cocaine or any of those other ones. We are anticipating this could happen, Mayor Jenny Durkin said when asked a question about the ruling during a Tuesday news conference. There is another wrinkle we're going to have to deal with. Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes, a supporter of harm reduction techniques, said, as cities struggle to respond to overdoses wrought by the opioid epidemic, the ruling is a disappointing one. Acting Attorney General Jeffrey A. Rosen said in a press release on Wednesday that the court's decision reaffirms that safe injection sites are a violation of federal law. The department supports efforts to curb the opioid crisis ravaging this country, but injection sites are not the solution, Rosen said. But supporters of sites are looking to a change in philosophy with a new administration and a new Congress. Just let them shoot up willy-nilly. That's what we're saying. Love our fellow human being. If you want to put illegal drugs into your system, go for it. Here's a clean needle, and if you OD, we're here to spike you back to life. That's kind of what we're saying. 2 years ago, the U.S. Attorney for Western Washington and Trump nominee Brian Moran warned Seattle not to pursue a site, saying it violated federal law. The direction will be clear, quick, and consistent. Stop it, he told KOMO News. A spokesperson for Moran said his attitude toward consumption sites has not changed. I think you're on either one side or the other on this argument, right? You're either full-on tilt, yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's get these injection sites going. Let's make them legal on the federal level. But we've already got just craziness going on in downtown Seattle and all these other places where homeless encampments have basically taken over parks, taken over streets, taken over sidewalks, taken over underpasses. And so much of it has to do with drugs. Everybody's aware of that. If you're not, if you're thinking that there's a good portion of those people that are there just because they lost a job, well, they lost a job, they've turned to drugs, they've been on drugs, whatever. But people who don't want to be in the streets, they figure out a way pretty quickly to kind of get things going. Other people that want to be on the streets, they want to remain there. We had the whole travel lodge in Fife, just outside of Tacoma, where Tacoma Housing now rented, a dozen hotel rooms. They put in 40 homeless people. They paid for one night, and then they didn't pay after that and basically said, yep, City of Tacoma can pay. We did one night. These people need shelter during winter. They basically hijacked a whole bunch of hotel rooms. And this poor owner of this travel lodge is just like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to kick them out. I don't want any trouble. I don't want to rip apart my hotel. But here we are, and the police weren't stepping in, and then eventually the police did step in. Guess how that saga ended up? Yeah, the owner of that hotel has to go to court to get anybody to pay. So you can't just hijack somebody's property and say, the city will pay. No, you got to go through court. You got to sue the city to get paid for something like that. And you know what? The city wasn't to blame for that one. It was the Tacoma Housing Now who signed the contracts on the initial set of hotel rooms, right? They should be the ones that pay. It's thousands of dollars. The reason I bring up this story is that of the 40 homeless, if my numbers are off, I'm sorry, but of the 40 homeless people, and I remember reading the article, only 3 took the opportunity to get into homeless shelter somewhere that wasn't a tent on the streets or on the sidewalk or in a park. 3 out of roughly 40. And in the article, I remember saying, well, that's kind of alarming, was a quote from one of the people involved. And I was like, well, it's alarming, but it's not unpredictable, because who doesn't want to shoot up and then hang out in their hotel room where they don't have a bunch of people, doing weird stuff around them, maybe taking their stuff. You got a door, lock on the door. You can just kind of hunker down and do your thing, take a shower when you want. Somebody else foots the bill. That's what the whole shoot-up sites seem like to me, is just further enabling a pretty major issue. And instead of dealing with the drug dependency, we're just enabling it further and saying, hall pass, here you go, clean needle. Please don't OD, but if you do, got you covered. That feels like what's going on here in Seattle and these other cities. And I think the federal government is right to say, hey, yeah, no go. But of course, that'll get overridden, and we'll just have more junkies and zombies walking the streets because, when they're high on drugs, they do not care what they do. Their safety is not paramount to their awareness. But Moran could be out of a job soon. Traditionally, new U.S. attorneys are selected by the president, especially when another political party takes over. He might be out of there. This might not be a popular decision that he just made. Maybe we get a new ruling and, injection sites. It's a go on the federal level. You guys just set them up willy-nilly. Go for it. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing in areas where we've got the opioid addiction. Let them stick themselves all day long. Jesse Rollins of the Yes to SCS Coalition is hopeful Durkan will move forward with authority to create sites regardless of the court ruling. He is hopeful the Biden administration will treat injectable illegal drugs like heroin the way the Obama administration allowed states to allow for marijuana sales. Okay. The big deal there is that you've got people dying left and right from opioid addiction. You don't have anybody ever dying from marijuana. Worst thing that happens to somebody when they smoke a lot of weed, the fingers turn all orange from all the Cheetos they've eaten and they pass out on the couch, right? I mean, you all know a stoner in your life. What do? Are they out just, are you worried about them dying? No. You're worried about them wasting their life away because it kind of makes them, just a vegetable. Oh, I smoked too much weed today. Got too high. Couldn't do anything else. The song, and then I got high. I was going to pay my child support, but then I got high. It's true. That's the funny part about that song, is that it makes you just kind of not be a contributing member of society if you do it too much, just like heroin. But heroin can kill you. You light up a fat joint, not going to kill you. Might make you stupid, might make you really high, not going to kill you. So the difference there to me is massive. Both are drugs. Food's a drug. Caffeine's a drug. You abuse them, you're going to have problems. You're going to get obese. You're going to overload your adrenal gland with caffeine. Life is tricky with choices, isn't it? So I don't see the whole comparison to hopefully the Biden administration will allow this, just like Obama administration just kind of looked the other way and said, marijuana sales go. Personally, I think marijuana sales should be legalized in the federal level, tax the heck out of it like they're already doing, make it a revenue source, move on with our life just like alcohol. But that's just me. I'm hoping there will be sites all across the country, Rollins said. The Biden administration won't enforce different provisions of federal, and hopefully with the new Congress, we have some progressive policy change happen, because we all know that when you have progressives leading the way, things work out fabulously. Fabulously. We're compassionate for our fellow human being. We are progressive with our thinking. Let's just keep this going. Let's just see how many tents we can have litter the sidewalks of Seattle. Let's see how many tents we can have litter the sidewalks of Venice Beach. And the list just goes on and on and on, right? So Yeah, I think this is, you are probably towards the end of these heroin injection sites being illegal on the federal level. I think that will get overturned pretty quickly, because there's going to be a lot of stuff like this that's been kind of on the back burner because, you still got guys in courts and the federal level saying, nope, we're not doing that. Well, that might get overturned here pretty soon, and we're going to have to deal with some new realities that kind of go against reasonable people's thinking. But that's what we're doing here on the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. We are analyzing things from a reasonable person's position, and sometimes they go in our favor, and oftentimes they do not, and all we can do is go, that's a really weird thing to do, or that doesn't really seem to be a compassionate thing to do. Let somebody continue ruining their life without really giving them a lifeline to a way to get help or a way to get better, or even really give them an option. You're just giving them another needle, letting them continue on with what they're doing, trying not to infect others, contain the problem. No, not really. You're just letting the problem continually go. But there's a large amount of thinking that in, clean heroin injection sites, we need them because we got a problem and this is how we're going to handle it. I'm not okay with that one. But then again, I'm just a real estate guy reading the news. As this storyline continues, I will report it to you right here on the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe if you so see fit. If not, do your thing, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now. Catch up soon. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.